Hello. In this video, I'm going to share my top tips of how to manage when it comes to perimenopause, menopause, and the postmenopausal years when it comes to your nutrition. Now, just before I get into the details of the food side of things, I thought I'd just quickly clear up what the terms perimenopause, menopause mean, because they're often battered around a lot with little understanding about what they actually are. So, menopause is basically officially diagnosed, and you can say that you've kind of hit that phase if you've not had a period for 12 months. And perimenopause is essentially the phase that leads up to that. And if you're going through that, which is probably why you're watching this video, or you've hit menopause or in your postmenopausal years, then you'll know that there are some pretty awful kind of things that go on during that time. You can get low energy, fatigue, night sweats, you might gain weight around your middle. You just basically don't feel like yourself, and it can be really, really frustrating. And I fully understand. I'm kind of entering that phase of my life myself at the moment. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are things that you can do to help support yourself. So I just wanted to talk about probably the key thing that really bothers people the most, which is the weight gain that can happen. And that's because of hormonal changes that happen at this time. So what's happening is your estrogen is starting to decline as you go through the perimenopausal phase, the perimenopausal phase, and that really causes some changes in the body. So something that you'll start to notice is that where you carry weight on your body might change. So historically you might have carried it on your bum and your thighs, and then it starts to kind of go around the middle. And that is in part because we become more resistant to the hormone called insulin. So insulin helps regulate your blood sugar levels, and basically it's just less efficient and it doesn't work that well. So that's part of what's happening in the challenge with weight gain. The other thing is, as you age, your muscle mass does go down. So we need to counteract that by doing the exercises, by keeping active. And that's also really important for your bone health as well, because estrogen is very protective for your bones. So as that is declining, it can cause challenge for your bones. So the resistance exercise, working out, doing your exercise is a key part of keeping yourself well during these years. The other thing to consider is the fact that it's often a very busy phase of life for a lot of us. So that can mean that we don't have a lot of time to look after ourselves, and sleep makes such a big difference when it comes to this phase. And obviously there's challenges with the hot sweats and stuff like that, but even making sure that you've got enough opportunity to get the 7 to 9 hours of sleep that you need for good well-being is part of that. So food side of things, what do we need to look at to try and reduce or manage this kind of central weight gain and feel good during these years? So the first thing is to really reflect on the timing of your eating. So in an ideal world, you want to have at least 12 hours overnight without food. And that will actually help support with this insulin resistance stuff, which becomes particularly problematic early in the morning and late at night. So a good 12 hours. So that could be 7 a.m. in the morning to 7 p.m. eating your food, and then a good 12 hours overnight. But you can even shorten that a little bit further if you like, to maybe 14 hours without food, up to 16 hours. Definitely don't go lower than 16 hours. There's no benefit of that, and it can be hard to get the nutrients that you need. But increasing the gap overnight, which might mean pushing out your morning meal, making sure that you're not snacking or eating late in the evening too often is definitely a good idea. The second thing to consider is the type and amount of carbohydrate that you have. This is not about being carb phobic, about having to be low carb particularly, or keto or anything like that. It's just saying when you are resistant to insulin, it can become problematic when you're having too much of the types of carbohydrates that really peak your blood sugar levels up too much. So it's just considering the amount that you have. So for breakfast, it might be that if you normally have like 2 pieces of toast with eggs, you might just need 1 piece of toast and a tomato instead of that second piece of toast. And if you like having the 2 pieces, then just go for a thinner slice. I tend to have yogurt with a tablespoon or 2 of muesli for plenty of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate, and a serving of fruit, rather than like a big bowl of cereal or muesli, because that's very carb heavy with low protein. So it's just kind of redistributing the carbs and the protein is helpful. At lunch, again, it's getting Lots of your non-starchy vegetables, your salads, your soups. And you know, if you have a piece of toast with your soup, just keep it to one. And maybe if it's got lentils and pulses, then you probably don't need it. And then it's just getting lots of those vegetables as much as you can in the evening meal. If you normally have like a cup of rice, maybe you only need half a cup, 3/4 of a cup. So it's just kind of really looking at the quantity, not going none, just reflecting on where you are now, and maybe it's just moderating it a little bit. The third thing, which I've kind of already mentioned before, is around the protein. So as I said, at breakfast, I'll make sure that I'm having enough protein, and that kind of helps moderate the carbohydrate. But what we want to make sure that we're getting is enough protein in each of our meals and our snacks, because that helps regulate your blood sugar levels, helps you feel fuller for longer, makes you less likely to crave those carbohydratey, sugary foods. So we're aiming for around 20-25 grams for your meals of protein, which I'll share a little picture diagram with you to show you what that means. But it might be more than you're having at the moment. And you know, you can go even higher than 25 grams if you're feeling really, really hungry and want a bit more food, or you're super active. But it's just kind of roughly aiming for that kind of guideline is a good start. At breakfast, it can be really challenging to get to that much. So even if you're currently having like 10 grams, even if you can get up to 15 or 20 at breakfast, most of the time that will be really helpful for you, and looking for protein rich snacks. So have a look at my pictures and you'll see how you can get a little bit more protein in there. The other thing to consider, and I know this won't make me popular, is alcohol. I am British. Whether that makes you like drinking or not, I don't know. But I've always loved, you know, enjoying a drink. I like a good margarita from time to time. But it does really compromise your sleep, and it is very energy dense, lots of calories in there. So with no nutrients, so that can actually contribute to it, and it makes hot flushes worse and things like that. So just really looking at the role that alcohol plays in your life. It's not about never having a glass of wine with your friends, but if you're drinking consistently during the week to manage stress, or just in a habit, look at some of my other work around habits to help you kind of rework those, because alcohol can be a little bit of a crutch, and definitely it's an easy way to kind of manage stress when you're using that. So those are the kind of key things to focus on. The other thing, as I said before, is the bone health side of things. So making sure you're getting enough calcium is important. So I can share some tips on how to get enough of that, and I'll add a little diagram for you there of calcium. So I hope that is helpful. A few tips for you to take away. Just a little summary, looking at the timing of your eating, considering the amount of carbohydrate and the quality of carbohydrate you're having, because there's a very big difference between brown rice and oats and donuts and bagels. So they're not one of the same. Make sure you're getting enough protein, that 20-25 plus grams at your meals, and also looking at alcohol and getting enough sleep. So good luck. Let me know if you've got any other questions, and I'll talk to you again soon.